Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Performance on Wheels. This is my 2023 Ford Maverick XL, and I just got done taking it on a 700-mile road trip through an insane winter storm. Now, before we get into dissecting my first 2,500 miles I have on the Maverick, as well as my 700-mile winter storm road trip, my dad is going to go ahead and explain a couple of the future Maverick videos that we have in store.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to highlight a few things on this video and future videos, some of the fun little accessories that you can buy on Amazon and maybe a few other places that are easily accessible for the Maverick, just some of the many accessories that are available. So stay tuned to see what today's highlighted item is. But not only that, we're going to have some fun stuff. We're going to put this XL up on our lift and see how those undercarriage components are holding up with the Minnesota winters.
Yep.
But this is kind of the fun thing. We're going to compare this XL to an XLT. Is it actually worth it to pay that more money for those more options, or is this as good as it gets and all you need? So make sure you stay tuned for that. That XLT is a pretty fun truck.
Yeah, so it's actually lowered on coilovers that are currently new to the market. Not only that, but we have some 22-inch wheels that are going to be going on it, as well as possibly installing the box spoiler and also possibly installing the bed spoiler. So we're going to go ahead and check out some of that stuff, some of the Ford aftermarket accessories, as well as those aftermarket coilovers and aftermarket 22-inch wheels. So we're going to have some fun playing around with this XL and that XLT. Now let's get into the video. Now my road trip started just the other morning. I believe it was Saturday morning, about 6 a.m. I got up, and I got up to one of the biggest winter storms that we've had in Minnesota.
On April Fool's Day.
On April Fool's Day. So this was a very different storm compared to some of the other winter storms because it was so warm out. The snow is very, very wet and heavy. So none of the roads were clear quickly at all. Because it took plows a lot more effort to clear the roads than it usually does. Because this, I mean, I can pick it up right now. This stuff is, I mean, it's perfect snowball weather, if you know what I mean.
Some plows that were stuck because the snow was so dense.
Yes, so very, very thick snow. Now, I took this road trip in this Maverick XL, meaning that I have the absolute base when it comes to base, when it comes to options. So that means I don't even have all-season tires. I just have pretty much summer city slicker tires on this thing. And that is something, if you're in the Midwest, I would highly recommend changing out in a hurry. Even if you just were getting all seasons, if you got it in spring and rocked it all summer, you'll be fine. But going into winter, I would not suggest rocking these tires all year because you will be slipping and sliding a little bit. The Maverick's all-wheel drive system is pretty good and it overcomes some of that, but you just simply need good tires.
Is this similar to the Bronco Sport, that it's definitely front bias, meaning you can feel it pushing?
You can, yeah. So when it comes to braking distance, when it comes to turning, when it comes to acceleration, I would just suggest getting a set of all seasons when it comes to winter. If you were planning to purchase the XL, the XLT does come with a nicer set of tires standard, and of course the Lariat does as well. Now, starting off my road trip, as soon as I left our neighborhood, I realized nothing was plowed, and I was now leaving in this little Maverick on a road trip about 7 hours away to Davenport, Iowa from Minneapolis. And as soon as I realized the roads weren't plowed, I realized this was going to be a little bit, I was going to have a little bit more focus on the road than usual. So I put the Maverick in eco mode for my whole drive there. I know a lot of people would say to do slippery, but I quite honestly don't care about the difference in traction control systems. I trust my driving more than I do a vehicle's traction control system, to be totally honest with you. So as I got out onto the road and was driving through all the slippery slush, the Maverick does a very good job with just keeping itself in line. Every now and then I would feel it try to veer off a little bit left or right because of the slush on the road. That's pretty much what it's doing. It's tracking to go along with the slush, but I was able to go through that slush quite easily, about 50 miles an hour or so with no issues. Now, as soon as I got onto the highway, the Maverick ran and drove perfectly fine. There was a couple of instances I was by some slower moving vehicles, and I went ahead and decided to try to pass them on the left side. Completely not plowed, no visibility of a lane. The Maverick went right on by with no issues. There's a couple of times I probably shouldn't have passed, but they were going so slow and I just wanted to get by. The Maverick did have full control going through, I would say, 5 inches of snow that was completely unplowed at 50 miles an hour, which was pretty cool to know. So the traction control system does a very good job, and it is very easy to control as long as you understand, obviously, how a vehicle operates when steering in snow. So I thought that was pretty slick, that a little tiny truck has such a good all-wheel drive system that I felt confident driving it like a real truck.
Were you monitoring your gas mileage at all?
I was, yeah. So I have a couple of clips that I did record my gas mileage, and I have a couple of clips I'm gonna lay over while making this video I made along my trip as well. So I ended up averaging on my drive there and back, in the snowstorm, I was doing about 25 miles per gallon. As soon as we got out of the snowstorm, it was incredibly windy. Probably the windiest roads I've ever driven on in my life, and I'm not even exaggerating. I had to have my wheel, you know, this is straight. My wheel had to be like this because the wind was veering the Maverick off the road
And you had
so
that massive
hard.
load in the bed.
That was before that, actually.
Okay.
That was before that. It was incredible how windy out it was. I've never heard gusts like that in my life. One thing I did find annoying when it was that windy is my wipers were vibrating against the window so hard. It was just a constant buzzing noise. I did try to pick that up on video, but I have no idea if the mic picked it up.
About 40 miles into the trip this morning, and I'm gonna be really quiet here so you guys can try to take a listen to this. I don't know if you guys can hear this. If you guys can hear that buzzing, that is my windshield vibrating. It has been vibrating since about 20 miles into today's drive non-stop. It is super annoying. I don't know why it's doing it. I actually have not heard that before. It's obviously worse over bumps, but yeah, I mean, my entire windshield just sounds like it's non-stop vibrating.
Other than that, I had zero issues getting there and back. I did have a load in the bed for half of the trip. It wasn't a big load by any means. I picked up some wheels for another vehicle that we're gonna have some videos on coming up here. But I had I had zero visibility out of my back window with a load of 4 wheels. They did not fit in the bed perfectly, so I had them kind of hunched up over the bed arches where the wheels sit. And
let's just repeat that for a second.
Yeah.
So to put the size of the bed into perspective, you had 4 car wheels in their box, and it took up the entire bed.
It did take up the entire bed, yes. But we do need to make an exception. These aren't normal car wheels.
Okay.
These are much wider than standard vehicle wheels, like probably some of the widest tires or wheels on the market, and they were in large GM boxes.
For sure.
So I did have other wheels in here at one point, and they do, once again, take up my whole bed when it was wheels with tires on them. But yeah, that's how I would put them into perspective. Sitting up and down, you can fit about 4 wheels and tires into the bed. And I did have to strap them down as well just because the boxes were kind of tall.
We are going to get right back to Austin's story, and I'm going to share a story of my experience in the Maverick too before this video is over. But let's quick highlight this storage container compartment slide-in little storage bin that is so clever. For a mere $20 in multiple different colors, this storage compartment can be yours. And I have to say, the creativity and the functionality of it is pretty impressive. I was taken back. Yeah, these are a little cheeseball, but the actual storage that you gain from this slide-in $20 piece, it is quite remarkable. We're going to put a link down to the Amazon store. Make sure you follow this link because this is the one you want. The fitment is perfect, and look at all the different color options.
Now, so I made it to Davenport, Iowa. I had 2 stops. I picked up those wheels, and then I picked up another part for that car that's coming up here soon on the channel, so subscribe if you're interested in a full car build that we're going to be doing. But I picked those up in Davenport, Iowa, and I started making my drive back. Once again, no issues on my drive back. It was still incredibly windy, had the wheel cranked, but we did go up a mile per gallon because of a tailwind, and I ended up finishing off my trip averaging 27 miles per gallon. Now, my entire trip, I managed to use Android Auto on my phone. Now, one thing I have noticed using the Maverick and being in other vehicles using Android Auto, for whatever reason, only using the Maverick, my phone gets incredibly hot while using Android Auto. It is a wired system that you cannot use wireless, and my phone just burns up when I have it plugged into this Android Auto system. Not only that, but I have now had on 2 occasions, one on this road trip, one on a second long period of time road trip I took, my entire screen and system freezes. I can't use it at all. My navigation freezes, I can hear my audio slowly cutting out, and everything freezes. My climate control then freezes, and I can't activate or do anything. Now, check out this clip from this road trip where I actually found a part in the owner's manual. It told me how to entirely factory reset that system, and it seemed to work. On the road trip back home, this is actually the second time that I've ever experienced this in my Ford Maverick. So I was just mid listening to a song. The song started cutting out slowly, and bam, here it is. My whole system is frozen. This is the second time this has happened since I've owned the Ford Maverick. Last time it took about 3 hours for this to go back to its normal state. I had frozen navigation and frozen audio and not able to use the entire system the rest of the time last time this happened. So I kind of want to bring this into work and see what they have to say about it, because it shouldn't happen more than once. No matter what I do, I could shut the car off, I could do a full reset. No matter what I do, this system freezes. There's nothing I can do. Even if I turn it back on, like I just shut off the screen, it is here frozen. There's nothing that it allows me to do. So I'm reading the owner's manual here, and it tells me to reset the system to simultaneously press and hold the seek up and the audio unit power button until the screen goes all black. So let's press the sync up and audio unit power. Seek up, I'm guessing, is this one, and audio unit power, I'm guessing, is this one. Let's hold these until the system goes black and see if we can reset the system. There we go. Now we wait 3 minutes, see if we can get this thing up and running again. There we go. There, it appears to be functioning. I wish I would have known that the last time, because the last time that this happened, I still had an hour and 40-minute drive home, and I didn't have audio or anything for an hour and 40 minutes. So that would have been nice to know last time. Whoops.
One other simple thing we want to point out here, a flaw, and this is going to be curious on the Maverick, because there are some cost-saving measures that are put into the quality of the Maverick to keep that cost down. Will this thing hold up over time? So not only do we have that kind of glitch in the infotainment, but we're also missing our third brake light already, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. We have no third brake light. Is it a burnt out bulb? Is it a wiring issue? Stay tuned.
Now, I do believe that part of the reason that that is an issue is because this is not a sync system. A lot of people believe it is, and it looks like a sync system that the Maverick uses on that screen, but you don't actually get the sync system until you move up to the Lariat. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that the XL and the XLT both have this aftermarket system that looks like sync, where the Lariat does get a full-on Sync 4 system, but it does use the same size screen, which I think's pretty corny. That little cubby, I think, should be filled with screen, and maybe that's going to change for the 2024 models.
Seems to be a completely pointless cubby, and yeah, it seems like at times the processor that's in whatever the system is called in the lower trim Maverick is a little delayed.
And the screen just looks really cheap too.
It does, but again, under $30,000, you were able to use this 20+ mile per gallon all-wheel drive pickup truck to go pick up some parts in under $30,000 for a brand new vehicle. It is quite remarkable.
Now, I do want to talk about a couple of things that I don't like about this truck being at the price point it's at. I don't have power mirrors. Those are a little bit frustrating. I mean,
let's break into that when we talk about the XLT.
We will break into that, but they should be mentioned because I took it on that road trip. The no power mirrors things means no heated mirrors. And it's impossible to scrape off mirrors. So I had no mirrors for the majority of the start of my journey.
But at least you had blind spot monitoring.
No, I don't.
Oh,
but
at least you had heated seats.
No, I don't. Not only that, but the fact that the XL does not have heated wipers or anything heated on the windshield. The wipers ice up like instantaneously when you start driving, which then in snowstorms makes them entirely useless. So I was pretty much blind for a lot of times driving because without the heated wipers, without the heated mirrors, I mean, you have practically no visibility.
So you went driving in the fast lane and on plowed roads while blind. There's a good thing why he's not on my insurance anymore, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
I'm glad you made it home safely. I'm glad you were able to use the Maverick for what it's actually supposed to be used for, hauling cargo. And it's awesome that you're able to fully experience the all-wheel drive and the power of that, what is it, 2-liter turbocharged
Yep, 2-liter
engine?
turbo, 250 horse, like 270 pound-feet of torque.
Pretty awesome. So we also had another experience that's worth sharing on actually using this vehicle on a daily basis, which was quite fun. That's bringing 4 adults to the airport in the Maverick. for like not small adults either. I sat in the back seat, I had my wife in the back seat with me, and we had Austin and his friend up front, and all of us were comfortable. All of us were commenting on the comfort of the vehicle. My wife claimed she could do a long distance trip. We were able to strap our luggage into the back easily, and again, you have this truck car that it's awesome for the price point.
Yeah, I really like the Maverick for the price point it's at. I'm super glad that I'm having the opportunity to own one. And while I'm having that opportunity, I did buy this vehicle with intentions to sell it just because of the market. And I got a Carvana offer for $29,000 right now.
Pretty impressive, a couple $1,000 more than the MSRP you paid. One thing I don't like about the XL here is that passenger seat. We will dive into the details of what we like and don't like about the Maverick in future videos. But guys, for now, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna hit the road and put some more miles on this Maverick. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Comment down below what you think of the slide-in accessory tray. If you bought one, if you like it, if you don't. Also, if you have any other ideas for future videos that you wanna see on the Maverick, make sure you put those in the comments below and we'll get that content out for you guys.
See you guys soon.